Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Long Run live stream and podcast from the 40 Runs running community. I'm Ian Wilkerson. I am joined by Question Master Alan, producer Toby, Mr. Chris Ford, founder of the group himself, and our good friend Mr. Eddie George is with us this week for another action-packed edition.
Action-packed
of the podcast. We've got so much. We've got so much stuff. You couldn't shake a stick at it. There's so much going on, and but I must start with the big news that we are officially the second biggest running podcast in Slovakia.
Yeah, stop the news, stop the press, people. This is official, right? We are the second biggest podcast in Slovakia. I got sent it in an email today. Where else? What else are we? We're very popular somewhere else as well. It's like
third in Norway. Third in
Norway. The Norwegians love us in the long run, and I think we was number 5 or 4 running podcasts in the UK.
Yeah,
so our little old podcast for real people, not going out there and getting all these elite people and all that stuff. They've got a place obviously elsewhere, but try making it a little bit more relatable to hopefully everybody else out there. We are so pleased that you guys are digging it, and we are so thankful that you are downloading it and tuning in every week. So a massive thank you from me, and if you don't mind, boys, from the rest of the team and all the guests that have been on. Huge love for listening, downloading, watching, all that kind of stuff. It's amazing. We started this podcast to get real sort of everyday runners out there, their voice out there, and I'm just blown away. But more importantly, that we're number 2 in Slovakia or Slovenia.
Yeah, if you're down Bratislava way, we'd love to hear from you. What's been going on down there? I did have a look. There's no park runs in Slovakia, which I think has made it even more impressive.
Incredible. We should start.
And we're actually the 16th most downloaded sports podcast in that country. So behind a shed load of ice hockey, probably. And then there's us for some reason.
Then there's the loose swimming. There's the loose women of the running world podcasts, as we keep getting known as. I mean, that's quality.
Yeah, that's the subdeck. Yeah,
it's brilliant.
Brilliant stuff going on. So, Chris, how's your week been, mate? There's loads happening.
Yeah, I've not had. I'll be frank and I'll be honest. I've not had a brilliant week. I've had a lot of stress. I've had a lot of struggles this week, made worse by stuff I can't control, stuff by individuals that had stress that sometimes to your life, and bits and bobs that outside of everything I do. But this morning it was great. I got up, I reset, I went for a run, I tuned into the old Chris Country, big shout out to them, and I just hit the reset button because I always look forward on a Friday to this and then to the weekend with the long run and park run, and also on Sunday we're taking over junior park run at Hertford, so that's going to be incredible. 150 kids are going to be running around there. We've got some amazing marshals who volunteers from the club who are giving up their time to come down and marshal at that event. We've got Amanda, who's run director down there, giving us a helping hand to get along to that as well.
Yeah, she's a regular FORDY Tuesday Hertford bods.
It's going to be great. So that's I kind of hit the reset button today after what was an awful week. And I would just say, on a serious note, because we do muck about a lot on here, and it is important that to check on people to make sure they are okay, because sometimes they aren't. And Al was kind enough. He popped round earlier yesterday, give me a bit of a pep talk, and it made a huge difference. So check in on your mates. Text someone maybe you've not spoken to for a while. Just text them and say, how you doing? And just check in on them, right? Because some people may be struggling and they may not be saying it. So I was lucky enough. Al popped round yesterday and gave me a bit of a kick up the butt. So that was quite nice.
It's also a funny time of year, isn't it? Because, this is going to be the first one of these that we finish in the dark. So it's a funny time of year. and lots of things are getting on top of people. Obviously, lots of people now are training they get to the business end of their training plans and things like that. So that's going to have a psychological effect on their
and there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of crazy stuff, petrol queues, diesel queues.
Yeah, and I can't think of a better way to spend an hour queuing for your petrol than listening to us.
Listen to the Long Run podcast. Totally agree with you. And I say on a lighter note, I think that's where we sort of crack on from. Just to give everybody an update, I've still not had the full refund from Adidas, just to keep you posted. My friends in South Africa have still not sent that through. So hashtag don't buy from Adidas. And the other thing, we did have an email in from Richard Head this week, who was asking whether it was Alan who was with me eating those chocolate hobnobs at club night. And I said, no, it wasn't. So don't worry, Alan. I looked after you on that front, the old vegan hobnobs. Oh, last shout out, and then I'll let you go. By the way, we've thank you to everybody. What's the email address? Still don't know it. But thank you to everybody. Again, boys, massive cock up this week. Not read any of the emails. And I've just checked before we went on live, and I've got 7 sitting in my inbox from today. So again, keep sending them in. Maybe we'll do a bonus episode of emails or something, because it's getting to the point where we've got like 5 hours of content to do. But yeah, I've got to give a shout out to artist_on_the_run on Instagram. She put a lovely post out this week about us and this show. And I just wanted to give some love to her as well, because I really appreciate the shout out. And those posts, they make a big difference to me. They cheer me up when I'm down in the dumps. But anyway, I'm super excited. Now, I say, after hitting the reset button this morning, and I can't wait to talk about Nike. I just can't wait. But we've got so much to get through. We'll come on to that in a bit.
I'm going to have a chat with Eddie, because he's popped along and get out the kindness of his heart to help us out and give us his opinions and outlook on all sorts of stuff. How are you doing, mate? How's things?
I'm very good at the moment. I've had a bit of a weird one outside of running this week, but it's been the first week of probably reduced miles, if you like, before London. So I've been filling my time up with ordering random running things and then sending them back and realizing I don't need them. And I had a really, really good run. Last longish run yesterday at marathon pace, which was amazing. Went really, really well. So just easing into it with 9 days to go now before Sunday week.
So how many Londons have you done and how many marathons you done, mate?
So this will be my 2nd London and I think my 9th marathon.
9th?
So, yeah.
Blimey.
Still so not got them right.
Have you what's your A target? What's your goal?
The A target this time, and to be fair, like someone spoke to me about this the other day, and I said to them, so I'm still not at the sub 4 area. I would say last year, pre-lockdown, I weren't carrying so many pounds, but my training didn't go as well. This time, my training's gone really, really well, but probably carrying a few too many pounds. So it's an interesting test to see if that works better than being lighter. So next year,
I didn't mean to agree. Yeah, you're carrying loads of pounds there, Ed.
I was going to say it's a bit strong.
Ed. Yeah, he is. Yeah, cool. Yeah,
no, your mates are.
Yeah, particularly coming from Slim Jim 2021. Sat here and he's flat in South London. So yeah, it's so have you done sub 4 before?
No. I've got up to 20 at sub 4 pace, if you like, and then something's always happened, whether that be a bathroom stop or just not in it mind wise. Things have happened.
It's tough.
Maybe next Sunday is the time. The training's gone well.
Yeah, your time's coming, mate. Your time is coming.
Sub 4 is tough. I tell you what, for an everyday runner, it's tough. It's like a sub 2 half, isn't it? I mean, some people are just lucky enough, like what's his face up in the corner there, annoying nuts, who just runs 20 miles and he ain't even done nothing. But most people, we have to work bleeding hard to do it, right? And to go sub 4 is hard. I think it's more psychological than anything else, but sub 2 half as well. It's really hard going. And I think, it's one of those things, but I think Ed works his guts out to, and it's just getting everything in line on the day. And he'll probably end up running 3:45 or something stupid. Do you know what I mean? It's like that.
One day he'll smash it, won't he? Yeah.
It's like
it does happen. Sometimes it goes right, doesn't it? When my half went down from I ran a sub 2, it took a couple of those, but when it went from that to 1:45, it went just over. And I didn't know it was going to happen. So it does happen like that.
Yeah, I've had that with my park runs. It took me ages to break half an hour, and now, suddenly it just clicked, and I'm nearly doing 25.
I'm wetting myself. Have you seen the comment? Right, so if you're listening on the podcast, right, we've had an anonymous Facebook user, and I would stay anonymous, by the way.
Good job, it's anonymous. That's all I'm.
And it's just said, hang on. I honestly thought Alan, and his name spelled wrong, so it's even hilarious and more funny. And I know you didn't mean it. Was an OAP. First time I've ever watched live. LOL. Ow. Be fair, right? No, let's set the record straight, because it's unfair, right, that we keep taking the mickey out of Al every week. Al is actually 72 years old. He got a good for age for this year's London, and we get him every week from the home, and he comes out. He hasn't got any easy teeth or anything like that, so he gets fed before he comes on, and we get him only for an hour, but he's actually 72, and that is the truth-ish. But yeah, I think that's probably the funniest thing I've seen all day, Al. Hang on, I honestly thought Alan was actually an OAP. That's just quality. Oh, and Ian Wilson. Yes, Toby's not an ultra, but I'm sending him to the island of Lundy. I'll talk to you about that another time. And Mel Howes, I saw a comment from Mel Howes. If anybody's going to the expo or running show or the non-COVID secure environment that the London Marathon events have said that you've got to go to next week, don't go when Mel's going, because the chances are there'll be extra security on. I'm not going to say anything more than that. Hashtag, if it's not nailed down, Mel's having it. Right. Should we get started with some questions? Have we got any, or is it just banter coming through?
We've had a bit of banter, but we have had a question, dare I say it, from the vegan runner.
Is that you?
You won't know what this is all about, Chris. So shall I step in on your behalf?
Yeah.
No. It's a serious question, obviously, with marathon season well underway. Looks like he's targeting sub-3. He's got a pretty strong half time there. But if you're not regularly running a marathon, how do you know what your marathon pace is? How do you gauge it if you're not a regular runner over that distance?
Well, how do you gauge what your pace you're aiming for? I've got to go for sub-3, but my plan really has me running at marathon. Well, depends what I don't necessarily. I think people say it's marathon pace, but it's actually what your goal pace is, really, more than anything else. So it shifts from whatever your goal is. So if you're running a half marathon, you should be, doing your work at goal pace. So classic example, we were just talking about, half marathon. It's easy, isn't it, to work it out? It's 5:40 per kilometre, 9:09, whatever it is per mile. That's your goal pace to go for your sub-2. So I wouldn't necessarily say marathon pace. Marathon pace is a little bit, it gets confusing, but I don't use marathon pace as a terminology. I refer to it as goal pace. So it all depends on what I'm going for. I mean, I don't know if you've got anything to add to that.
The same thing? It's the same thing, isn't it?
Well, technically, because marathon pace effectively is slower than, or should be to a degree, to a half marathon pace, let's say, because it's harder to maintain over the 26.2 miles. That's why, I understand what he's trying to say, but I don't refer in my training plans that I write or the people I coach, I don't say to them, run at half marathon pace. I wouldn't say that. I would say run at goal pace. Do you see what I mean? So I think it's a slight, just it's out of context more than anything else. There's no right or wrong way, by the way, to do this. And in terms of gauging it, I would work out what I'm aiming for, and then go from there. Really, that's so whatever your pace is for that sub-3, and then use that as your goal pace. That's how I would do it personally. I mean, Al, have you got anything to add to that? Ed, you obviously and Tobe qualified up as well, so I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I said if you're into your stats, there's lots of stuff on the internet that will let you look at your. I think it's called race equivalence, isn't it? So if you know your 5Ks and your 10Ks and your halves because you run those regularly, they'll do a little calculation. And I think the rule of thumb is double your half and add 20. So work your way back. If you got sub-3, work your way back and see where it lands you in terms of that minute mile pace or your kilometre pace.
Okay, well hopefully that answered it. The vegan runner. And Rachel asked, "What's my favourite vegan food?" I would say air. Is that
chips
food, isn't it? Al, you can answer that. I mean, we know it's not croissants, Al, We know it's not croissants.
I think there was. I've got some supporters in the audience. They've been sending through regular screenshots of vegan croissants from across the world.
I wasn't convinced by that. I've got to be honest. In the week, people, we got sent a post or something. If you've not seen the show, Alan, was it 2 weeks ago, boys? Alan was caught with a suspect croissant at the London Summer Run that he claimed. Oh, there it is. And if you can't see it, obviously on the podcast, he's got a croissant in his hand. Now that looks like it's got a pret-a-manger piece of paper around it. Now Alan claims it's from Aldi. Now Aldi, and we got sent this week, do make vegan croissants apparently, but we seem to suspect that this was not purchased from Aldi. So it's out there, and I know Richard Head was quite angry about it, but we put that to bed a few weeks ago. But don't worry, he's definitely vegan. Don't worry, he's
still. We get back on the marathon questions.
Oh yeah, well yeah, because I want to get on to talk about Nike, and I know we've got so much to talk about this week.
We've got other stuff, yeah. So let's crack on.
Come on, let's knock a few questions out quick, and then we'll get into it.
A regular anonymous Facebook user running London and Chelmsford. I think they're 2 weeks apart.
Yeah,
they want an idea of what they should be doing in between those races.
Recover. Yeah, I would active recover. I would get out there, get some blood through the legs. Use the 2 weeks to get yourselves back up, get mobile, get fit in the mind. The fact of you're going to go at it again. I don't know which one you're using as your sort of, let's say, A race out of the two. But I would get up and get active recovery, get some time in the pool, do some yoga, all the stuff that you've probably heard everybody say. But yeah, just the most important thing is to get the blood going through those legs. Don't put too much stress on them, and listen to your body, I would say, obviously as always, but just listen to your body. And if you're still feeling a little bit, groggy in your legs, then go and do something like swimming or something, it's low impact. But definitely get yourself up and mobile between the two.
Okay.
Anything else?
I think it's time for the Nike update.
Oh, where do we start? Right, okay, people. So, I don't know if you don't follow me on Instagram, it's a nice plug here coming, people, at FORDY_runs. And yesterday, Nike came out with the Alpha Fly. I think they called it Nature or something, some old pony name. Anyway, now if you've been living in a room the last couple of years, the Nike Alpha Fly is the super shoe that Kipchoge went sub 2 in, and it's like a marathon shoe. Even though at the Olympics he didn't wear it, but that's another story. So it's the high stacked carbon plated racing monster from Nike, and when it came out first, I think it was 265 quid. Ed, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a truckload of money, right? And everybody back then went, "This is ridiculous," but all right, it's going to take time off and all that sort of stuff. So people were buying them. Hayden last week, for example, loves them, and even wore it as he was running around as a panda. But yesterday, Nike put on sale what they call the Zoom Fly Alpha Nature, I think it's called. And what they've done is they've put a load of recycled shoes into this Alpha Fly. So the Zoom X, hang on, stay there. Sorry, podcasters, I've just got an Alpha Fly in my hand. But the Zoom X on the bottom, right, is made of recycled Zoom X now. So they've crushed up all the old shoes, which is, by the way, this is all good stuff from Nike. And they've chucked that into the midsole, right? On the upper is all recycled. I think it's made out of plastic bottles, which is great. This is fantastic. But here's the thing. It's 300 quid. Now, I think that is an absolute liberty to even ask for someone to pay 300 quid on a product that's made from used shoes. I've done a video on this sustainable stuff, right? Sustainable stuff. It's like, do you remember that I've moaned about it before? Pair of shorts, 45 quid. Because they're made from sustainable, materials. And I think all the sustainable stuff's good, and that's great. But £300, let me know in the comments who would pay, well, firstly, 250 quid, but all right. But 300 quid, what planet are Nike on? I think they're thanks, Toby's just put it up, 295 quid. So by the time you get it back, I mean, it's not even a nice looking shoe, but it's got this 3D printed upper out of plastic bottles. And the back of it, if you look, somebody on Instagram put some detailing, some really close-up shots. The way they've glued it together, it looks like it's going to fall apart in about 2 minutes. £300, people. Can you tell me in the comments, one, are you sick and tired of Nike? And please don't tell me you're buying Brooks from 1987, but would you pay £300? I just think it's disgusting. And somebody should be shot at Nike. Oh, that's so much
Well, if
better.
you're going to spend that, you're going to spend it, aren't you? I mean, nobody's pointing a gun at your head and said you've got to pay £300 for a pair of trainers.
This is a good point, Ian. This is a very good point. No one is making you part with the money. That is a very, very good point. And it's interesting that you bring that up. But yes, you're absolutely right. No one is forcing anybody to pay that money. But I do think it is a bit of a Mickey take to ask 300 quid for what is the same shoe as the other one, but with recycled bits in it. You're paying 50 quid for a bit of, cut up trainer.
I mean, the whole Kipchoge thing was just manna from heaven for him, wasn't it? And from a publicity point of view, because he went out on the Monday, they said, these are the trainers he got. And then you couldn't get them for love nor money because they were flying off the shelf because everybody wanted a pair. You know, the whole sort of, I mean, I'm no trainer expert, but the whole carbon thing sort of like just went on from there, didn't it? And now everybody's feels like they've got to have a pair. And so I do think it is the age-old thing, and we did do this, didn't we? Were we on the pod, and we might have still been on Clubhouse when we was talking about the £45 pair of shorts, weren't we? But the fact that they're environmentally friendly, they are marketed as a sustainable product, and in this day and age, everybody, people do want to, do their bit and make this a consideration in the thing, but they're not making it particularly easy by charging that sort of money.
No, and then sending them out to you in plastic, in those shorts, for example, sent out in a plastic bag. So well done on that front. Oh, it drives you mad. But anyway, I feel much better talking about that now. I do, because I saw that yesterday and I went, because I'm on a bit of an anti-Nike march at the moment, because I just think that their shoes, just the quality is terrible. I got a new pair arrive this morning. I'm going to wear them tomorrow, the Zoom Fly 4s. And they look like they've been glued together by a 4-year-old. It's just disgusting, and they're 140 odd quid if you go on the Nike website. So I'm sick and tired of Nike.
So you're falling out with Nike and you're falling out with Adidas. Who do you like, mate?
Puma, Skechers. It was obvious, wasn't it?
There you go.
And I'm trying to get out because in the home, right, they're allowed to walk around in slippers. So Skechers make these really comfy slippers. And I'm trying to get Skechers to send him a pair for when he's in the home and stuff. And because he sits, if you go and visit Al, he's always sitting in the same chair looking outside where he used to be able to go out. Can't now, they won't let him out. But now, so they put him in this chair because he gets a bit mischievous in the morning. So
he's been rocking them Nike Crocs, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If they're listening, I'm a size 12. Max.
Al, we must ask you how you got on doing the bridges last week, because I saw some great pictures. Loads of people
Crocs
out
challenge, I might be wearing my slippers now, but the cameras can't see my feet, and I'm staying under the table. No, the Crocs challenge was a brilliant weekend. Well, it was Sunday, but it was about 35 FORDYs. We met up near Putney. I think we did 12 or 14 bridges across 13 miles. And it was one of those days where there was no chat about PBs. There was no chat about carbon plates. It was all just good fun and banter, and we ended up in a pub. So
I love it. It was incredible. Incredible. Did you see the pictures?
Yeah, it looked like everyone was having a great time.
Yeah, it just shows you what the community's about. People coming together, new faces all getting together, doing something awesome. I love it. It just blows my mind. Just seeing people together and having fun. And no stress, no hang-ups, like Al was saying. It was just fantastic. It was nice. What Al told me was there was new faces coming along. It's great that we get all the regulars and all that, and that's fantastic that they've made friends and stuff like that. But new people coming out and getting involved as well is even more special. So, that was amazing. So thanks, guys. I know Stu is in Berlin and organised that as well. So thank you very much, Stu, for putting all that together. It was lovely to see.
So along those lines, Christopher, then we've got big announcement about Christmas yesterday.
Yeah, we do. We've got the jingle jog. I mean, it's just funny you talk about but that one's making your favourite. But yeah, if anybody wants to get involved, it's not a race, but we're putting on effectively what like the Secret Santa, what they call secret runs do. We thought we would organise that and put that on for the people in London. It's obviously organised with run leaders, so it's all ensured it's done properly, and that's the important thing. So people are safe. That's the key thing, I think, especially with the pandemic and everything that's going on. It was important that we did it properly and put everything in place to make sure everybody is safe and have a good time. But yeah, we're going to be running some people around London, which is kind of cool. It's the sort of thing that we're trying to do a little bit more of if we can. We've got some amazing plans for next year, which I can't talk to you about because we're talking to local authorities about next year. We've got 2 really big ideas for next year that we're trying to get together. So to offer, the club members, the community members, but obviously bring people in from outside. And we're really excited about the work we're doing on that. So this is the first of many things that we're working on. There is a charity attached to this event as well. As always, with everything we do, it's always for other people. It's like the club's non-profit. And any profits that are made go to charity as well. So it's all along the same sort of lines that we do. So,
and of course,
we're super excited.
On Fridays, we talk about marathons and training and all that sort of thing. But that is not even the half of what the 40 Runs community is all about. It is about people getting out and having it, enjoying themselves, meeting up with people and having a good time in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're all about. Having fun. We start them off with the kids at 4 years old. It's all about fun and having a good time and using running to get fit. And we take them all the way through to the seniors. We do a walking group here, and it's not just your, U3A strolling along having a chat. Like I took them out on Thursday and they had to walk as fast as they could for 45 minutes. They were absolutely blowing at the end of it and they went for it. So it doesn't matter whether you're 70 or 4. It's ultra inclusive and it's for everybody, and but it's having fun while we're doing it, and that's what we're all about. And I just love it. And I say that, and I felt that love yesterday again from Alan after he gave me a pep talk. It's just amazing. I love it. Absolutely.
I'll just bring Eddie in on that. How's the community sort of helped you in your sort of running journey, mate?
So I guess I've been I wouldn't say a founding member, but I've been in the group for a good few years now, and I think it was as simple as me posting up a message saying, does anyone know anywhere decent to park in Stratford before a race? And I think it was Matt Della come back and said, there's a few of us meeting here, XYZ. Yeah. Someone said the sensible answer. And then met up with Chris, met with Matt, and I think Billy was there as well, and a few others, Sue. And we ended up running that 10K together. And then it was a time when, everyone was time, and all of a sudden it was meeting up at a race sort of virtually every other week. And then, of course, living fairly local in Hertfordshire, ended up getting involved a bit of time on my hand a couple of years ago with work-wise and that. So did a run leader course, ended up getting involved with the juniors. I remember when I think it was the second junior session that was ever run. There was 4 kids there, and I think one of them was mine and 2 of them were Chris's. Yeah, and we just helped out.
Yeah,
with
now
that.
Look at it. Now look at it. Over 250 kids in Hertfordshire. It's incredible.
I get scared asking how many it's going to be now because it's just a headache. Sometimes it is good fun though. It's really good fun, really rewarding and really good fun.
And again, I'm lucky. People like Eddie, who I met through this, pivotal part of everything we do in 40 Runs. And it's like we had Hayden last week, Helen, Nettie, all these people, up and down the country who are, willing to give in their time. It's incredible. It's amazing. It really is. Absolutely amazing.
It's great to hear, and it's great to be a part. I find it great to be a part of it myself. So, Al, we got a few more questions then, mate.
Yeah, but before we do, a quick shout out to Ray Sellers, the happy jogger. I think he was a bit late in. He might have been having a late breakfast, but he's back in on the show.
Hello, Ray.
You're welcome, Ray. Good to see you again. And we just got a point of clarity. Gary Kay has asked, how many pairs do you get for £300? So obviously you get the
yeah. 5.
On a serious note, we've got some questions. Geordie Lisa, I think we kind of know that's probably Lisa McNulty up north. Got 3 half marathons booked, but has lost her mojo. So tips and advice just to get back out and get back on your feet. What do you say, Chris?
I would say
if you've got time constraints, you've got a family and you've got a busy life. How do you pack it all in?
Yeah, I think you just got to set yourself a daily goal. And I know it's hard if you are stuck in terms of. I can't remember, Lisa, if how close the Northeast satellite group is to you, and whether that's doable. I know the Northeast is a big place. I appreciate that. Maybe Ian or one of the other guys can contact you about that. But if you can't get to that, personally, I would just try and get along to park run if you can, or just try and set yourself daily goals, daily targets of doing something. And it's whether it's I'm going to go and run 20 minutes without me watch, and I'm going to run 40 minutes without me watch, and I'm going to stick the long run podcast on. And I'm going to go and run for an hour. But yeah, so give you just yourself daily little tasks to do. Give yourself goals for the week is another way of doing it. Try and meet someone to run with. It's a great thing. Like, you know, as I said to you, even yesterday when I was struggling, just with outside of running, you know, just Al coming around, you know, it's just that interaction, and where I've had those medical problems that I've really been struggling with, just having Tobe around just to come out there and feel sorry for me for a couple of hours makes a huge difference. So maybe try and get someone to run with if possible. That's another good way of getting your mojo back.
Lisa, I'd say, you know, it's only a couple of weeks since we were both running around the Great North Run and having a great time. So you say you've got booked 3 half marathons for next year. That's a long way. That's a fair old way away. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just, you know, worry about too far in the future. Just try and get yourself out perhaps a couple of times a week, even if it's for sort of like half hour or so, and just try and keep yourself ticking.
Go time-based. Don't look at distance. Go time-based.
And, you know, just try and, you know, try your best to look after yourself mentally as well as physically. And I mean, there's plenty of FORDY love out there for you. So I'm sure somebody will be able to, somebody who's a little bit closer to you geographically will be able to reach out to you and help you along if you're having a bit of a sticky patch. So, and one more, Al?
Yeah. We've got Elaine Bunting. Sounds like she's been on the injury bench for a little while, recovering from a hip fracture. So I hope you're feeling better, Elaine. But she's looking to come back, couch to 5K. Should she go out and get a gait analysis before she sets off on that program?
Well, 2 things, right? 2 things. Ed's going to talk about this gait analysis because we were talking about this in the week, and it's really interesting what Ed's had done. So it's great leading on to that. To answer the question, personally, I would just get back running first and build some sort of stamina within, you know, your muscles and all that kind of stuff, and build yourself up, because you may give yourself, or the gait analysis may give the wrong impression of, you know, where you are in terms of your strength. I would probably get into the fat couch to 5K, get through it maybe, and then go and do it. So then you go on to your next step. That's not to say that the couch to 5K is not going to be hard or anything like that, or, you know, I'm not saying that's, but I'm just saying for you personally to come back from some form of surgery, I would just worry about getting back running and then get into the gait analysis once you've got comfortable, built some strength, built some stamina, and just sort of finding your feet back again. That's what I would do, Elaine. But I just wish you well. I hope everything goes well in your recovery. But nice bridgeway to Eddie. Go.
Hello. Right. So yeah, with the gait, you know, I've been running 5 years, and I've always had my gait measured in trainer shops, if you like. And I've never been that trusting of them, just because I've literally done it in the same afternoon where I've gone in 2 shops. One of them's told me I pronate, one of them's told me I don't pronate. You know, I've always thought there's something there. I'm not saying they're all like that. I'm sure there's some really good ones, and I found a really good one in the end. But one of the things, obviously, where I've ramped my miles up considerably during this marathon training block, and I started to get a little niggle in my right foot, and I was getting worried that it might be the trainers I've chosen to wear for the marathon, or one of the sets of trainers I was wearing in my training. So I thought I'm going to start tapering weeks off by actually going to get this looked at, just in case I'm doing something that's going to impact the next 2 weeks and make it a lot worse. So I went over and booked into a proper physiotherapist, sort of Perfect Balance place it was called, where they do a really, really deep dive, if you like, on my feet. I've never had so many pictures and scans of my feet taken in one moment by a physiotherapist. So basically, you went in, and it was all done. It wasn't done on a treadmill. It was done on like a metal plate on the floor that you take all your shoes and socks off, stand on it, and it scans the soles of your feet to see how you stand normally. And then you'll walk barefoot, and then you'll run a bit barefoot. And then you'll basically work through maybe your work shoes, your daily trainers, your race trainers, literally any shoes. She did say I could have taken my slippers as well, which did make me chuckle earlier. Yeah, because a lot of in the last year, what the lady said was very sensible. In the last year, a lot of people's footwear has changed, what they've been wearing daily. So some people are wearing slippers all day now, and that's impacted their natural gait, whereas they might have been wearing a nice pair of work shoes before, if you like, and out walking about a lot more.
I've just realised, Ed, sorry, I'm laughing because your slipper comments. I've just realised, and this is a great topic, but I'm going to go completely off of it, and I really apologise, Ed. We'll come straight back to it. But Al Scott, did he name himself, right? If you're watching on the podcast, right, everybody's got a name, right? So I've got FORDY, we've got Wilco, Toby, Eddie, right? Now, who wrote Alan's? Did he write his own? He's put on there Pacer Al because he's going all big time and he's running 2:25 around Hackney. Please, everybody who's running the Hackney half, please, whatever you do, forget about what time you want to run. Please just go and run 2:25 on Sunday and just annoy him for 2 hours and 25 minutes. It'll make my weekend. But sorry, Ed, no, what Ed's saying was really interesting in terms of, and it was the sort of the feedback about your toes, Ed, when you was telling me.
Yeah, so when I stood there, basically, you look at the scans of the bottom of my feet and my right foot, perfectly normal, but the scan, my 3 of my toes don't touch the ground when I stand up. They're not there. So I can use my toes more basically to balance and all through. And interestingly, there was a slight pronation there. When I walked, I've actually got better running form than I have walking form.
Amazing. It's all from this stuff, isn't it? It's incredible. And to be honest, I did the video when I went to ASICS. They invited me up there. I've mentioned it before. They didn't go into this sort of depth. So, it was good. I told everybody it was good, and I said how it was. But Ed, just tell the guys though, how much did you have to shell out?
Yeah, it weren't cheap. It was 70 quid for 45 minutes, And
it's not bad for 45 minutes.
It was 45 minutes. Yeah, I mean, you think it's not that much more expensive than like a sports massage or something like that. It's not. It's along the same lines, and it was. I mean, I could have tried on probably 8 or 9 pairs of shoes if I'd wanted to, and a different analysis for each pair. Yeah, so it was as many.
Ed, out of interest, we had a comment from David. Did your gait analysis change after the few beers that you've been after a few beers later? Because apparently you've been on the beer while we're doing live stream.
It's just a beer-shaped bottle, hasn't it?
It's a bit like when Wogan interviewed George Best, isn't it? We have to manage these guests. They're going to come on half cup.
It's brilliant.
It's just part of the taper, Chris.
You wouldn't get this on Loose Women. Mind you, I reckon they probably do under the table. They got a cheeky sherry under there, haven't they? Al, do they drink sherry at the home?
Only on a Friday after the podcast.
Is that before or after drafts?
It's before backgammon and shove opening.
Right. What's next, Ian? Because we've got a packed schedule.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the baggage situation at the what do you call it? Royal Parks. Because they are actually opening up a baggage station for an hour for people to get pre-book who are going to have an overnight bag.
You got to pay for that?
I'm not sure. They hadn't. Donna Banks sent an email to us.
Donna, let us know. We've got to pay for that.
Please. It doesn't say you have to book it. But I suppose the problem is that they've got is that obviously the start and the end aren't in the same place. So it's not like we went to the Great North Run and it was great because they had a huge marquee and you put your bag in there and it just stayed there and there was no problems at all. And
where is it? Because I'm doing it, but I ain't got a clue.
Well, it starts at Green Park but ends in Hyde Park. That's the issue. So it's a bit like, and obviously the marathon's having the same problems. I think with events that start and end in the same place, it's fine, but somebody's got to find a bit of a solution to this because it's a bit all over the place.
Yeah, I just think like anything, they've gone too early on this like London Marathon events with their COVID secure, non-COVID secure expo running show. Can you buy a load of rubbish before you do a marathon? Oh, but can you drop your bag off? Oh, here's an interesting thing that Ed and I spoke about, and it's similar sort of thing. If now this, I'm not saying to just put this clear, right? Absolutely clear. And I am not telling you to do this. And anybody who does this should be arrested. Okay. But what is to stop you if you are something wrong with you going to the COVID secure running show, right? Putting all your stuff in, starting the race, jumping on a tube or grabbing an Uber at whatever mileage, waiting about 4 hours, walking down the mile, going to get your bag, and you got your medal. What's to stop you? I mean, again, you've got to have something wrong with you if you're going to prepare to do that. But there are so many numpties out there, right? We've seen it where people jump over numbers, switch this, do this, cheat here, paste this, all this kind of stuff. Have they, again, like Royal Parks, I think they've caused a problem for themselves by trying to be too clever, in a way. And it's the same thing with this. It's just madness. You're outside, right? I appreciate the world at the moment with the pandemic. It is crazy and it's dangerous where we are, and we're lucky to be doing races and events because, you know, over the winter they might get shut down again, whatever. But it's just madness. They're almost doing what Toby does with everything and over-engineering it. They're overthinking and overcomplicating the process. It's outside. It worked okay from what everybody said at the big half, and it worked okay from what everybody said at this London summer winter. It's got 3 different names run that took place. You know, it seemed to work, and I don't know what the outcome of that in terms of, you know, how COVID was spread and all that sort of stuff. But I just think they've gone mad, and now they've realised that they've dropped one, so they put this hour slot out. Can you imagine how busy that's going to be? Because you've got people who fly over for this event, even though you're not meant to be flying, but people come in and from other areas of the country, because funnily enough, England is not just London, right? So people do travel in and they have to stay over. So they've just gone, oh, maybe we do need it. So it's just madness. These people have got no common sense, none whatsoever.
And it's like, open between 7 and 8 in the morning, so you've got to get there anyway on a Sunday.
And it's like this water thing. They said about the waters, right? That I remember we did the Royal Parks and they got rid of all the plastic, and that's fantastic, getting rid of all the plastic and all that, right? And they're reducing the water stations apparently this year. But what that does, that creates loads of paper cups. We ran down the mall and it was mush all on the floor. Someone's got to clear that up and sweep all that. Well, what are the machines that are going to be doing that? And where's that stuff then go? It goes into plastic bags. It doesn't make any sense. They're just doing it for PR. There's no common sense about it. None whatsoever. It's the world's gone mad. I just wish these people would just stop and think for a second about how it would realistically work in the real world, because they ain't. I mean, again,
they're trying to be all things to all men, aren't they? And it's getting a bit. You have to make hard decisions.
And it's hard decisions, and they want to get the races and events. They've got to get them insured. They've got to do their COVID risk assessments and all that stuff. And honestly, I really do take my hat off to them to getting these events up and running, because, you know, we as runners, we want to run and we want to race. So thank you very much for putting these races and doing it and trying to make it as safe as you can, and especially all the volunteers, the people who've got to take these bags in and stuff. Thank you. But at some point, you know, you've got to stop and think to yourself, like London Marathon events, maybe we have done this a bit wrong. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just madness. Absolutely. You think next week, right? Because we've all had our numbers out for Expo. Next Saturday, you think how busy that's going to be? All those people inside getting their race numbers and handing their bags over. It's just, it defies logic, people. It defies. Oh, great segue again. See, well, I'm really good at this. I'm now leading into another subject. It's like we're almost. You would think that we're so highly ranked in certain countries for our podcast, wouldn't you?
This is what the Slovaks love. They love the way that you link in all these different subjects.
We sort of link into these things.
That's why we're 2nd and 16th in the general sports podcast in Slovakia.
It's incredible. Now, so what I want to know is, in the comments, I think I put it in there earlier, what do we think of the London Marathon medal? Now, you don't have to be running the London Marathon, people, because some people have done it in the past. Or, you know, what do you think? How does it look? What do you think? And what do you think about the fact of what Eddie told me just before we came on air, that if you're running London and running the virtual, you're getting the same medal? Now, What do we think about that? Now, we all know that the virtual London Marathon is a great way of getting people involved and doing it in other charities, right? Another way of raising a lot of money for charity, which is fantastic. Also, don't forget the amount of money that the London Marathon events are going to make out of it. 50,000 medals, 50,000 times about £6 or £7 profit. £6 or £7 a medal, then plus, because it's 25 quid. You work out the profit. Let me know in the comments. But do you think that they should be getting the same medal? I don't know the answer. I mean, let me know. I mean,
I'll tell you what, another thing that somebody's just popped up, and I subscribe to this thing. Someone said they don't want to see it until they get it. I don't like it when I'm doing a race and people are sort of like, "Oh, this is the medal you're going to get." I'd quite like to be surprised when I cross the finish line and say, I'm not going to be underwhelmed and disappointed when I get a medal, but I'd quite like it to be a bit of a surprise. I don't need to know what my Christmas present is going to be before the day.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either way on this one. I think it's difficult. I mean, I've done the virtual, so I feel like I can comment on it from someone who's done both physical and virtual. And for me, I think it would have been nice if they had done slightly different medals for both, instead of worrying about their profit, but more worrying about, actually distinguishing. Because I think what people are doing on the virtual one is incredible, that they're going out and they're doing that. And like Russell's a great example of this. Russell from our local club in Broxbourne. I think what he's doing is amazing. He had some medical problems. He got a bit injured, blah, blah, blah. And what he's going to be doing on the day is he's going to go out and do half marathon in the morning. And in the afternoon, he's going to go and finish the rest of his kids. They're going to do bits and bobs of it. And I think that's amazing. And the charities that are going to benefit, the extra 50,000 people that hopefully are raising money for charity through it, that's incredible. I think that should be acknowledged some way, that you've done it a different way and it's a little bit different. I just think personally that would have been a cool thing to do. But again, London Marathon events, it all comes down to how much money they can get out of us, I think, unfortunately.
What do you think now, Ed?
I get it, because the slogan this year is "We Run Together," which is why they're using it for virtual and for the main event. But I just think of some of the examples. I know that because we ran the virtual last year and I ran it, we ran it like a marathon as best we could in one go. But there were people who did some amazing things last year. They might have driven around a county and done a different park run for every 3 miles and stuff like that. But that might have taken all day. And ultimately they did get in a car, like a lot of times. So is that the same as running around the streets of London? I don't know, Yeah. I like, someone's put in the comments, actually, I quite like maybe having a different ribbon on the medal so you can distinguish.
Good idea.
Between this was the live event, this was the virtual event, something like that. Because
you still take anything away from the achievement of either.
No,
I don't.
No, exactly.
No, there's nothing wrong with either. They're both amazing achievements, like you say, but
it's okay. I'll tell you,
a lot of people will run London once in their life around the streets of London.
Yeah.
And if next year they can get that medal for 20 quid, or there are going to be a lot of people who are running the live London who are also in the virtual ones, so they're going to have 2 medals. So there's going to be a lot of these medals floating about. A lot of people, the once in a lifetime experience. Like my wife is doing it this year. She's not going to run it next year. She's going to do 1 marathon in her life. And
it should be special. Yeah, it should. But I tell you, okay. So what about Ian? So I'll put it to you like this, in a different context. So the Great North Run.
Yep.
The Great North Run was virtual and physical. How would you feel when you rocked up and you went up the mountain that was the Great North Run 2021 course, and then somebody living in Southend went up and down the seafront a couple of times and over the day? And again, I'm not taking anything away from that, all right? Because probably our chances are they're doing it for charity. So thank you very much. But how would you feel about with the
to be honest, I mean, just as I'm not worried about people who take 2 hours longer than me to do it or an hour shorter than me to do it, I'm not really worried. I just think about my own achievement, and I'd be quite happy with that. I wouldn't be too worried about what other people have done and the way that they've earned their thing. I mean, I'm just pretty laid back about it, really. I'm not too worried.
Yeah, I think that's the way to be. Maybe we're taking it all too far, and we're
I think a ribbon distinction or something like that would be quite nice.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot to be said for that. There's more important things in life, like getting petrol and things like that, to worry about. And
How are you getting on in that queue, by the way? You must be near the front by now. We've done 49 minutes.
Queue, yeah, let us know if you email us at what's the email address type? If you've listened to the podcast in a petrol queue, email us and we'll mention you in a couple of weeks when I get round to the emails. You know, when we get,
the crisis is all over.
What's Tobe drink? Tobe, what are you drinking? I thought he had a pint then. I know he's got a cheeky little Domino's down by his side that Milo's eating most of it.
Hey? That's race fuel for tomorrow.
Race fuel? We ain't racing, we tapering your donut.
No, we're racing.
He's getting carried away again.
They're getting chauffeur driven to parkrun tomorrow. Did you know? We've got a Mercedes picking us up 8:30, taking us to parkrun tomorrow. # Sabrina Taxis.
And we're going to run with her.
Happy birthday, Sabrina, by the way, for the other day. Yeah. Missed out on Tuesday, didn't come to Hartford, was at the Downright at Temerity to go out for her birthday. Yeah. But there you go. Now, we've invited Eddie along and we've done over 50 minutes, so we haven't done his lightning round questions yet, so we better get
get on it. Right.
Sliding gear and get on with that, Al.
Roll the titles.
Welcome back, Eddie.
Hello.
It's a safe place. Don't worry, mate. They've gone off to refresh. So we'll do the lightning round, shall we? So I don't know if you've heard this before, but you know all the answers. Trust me. But I'm going to fire them at you as quick as I can. Short, snappy answers. So bucket list race.
Comrades Marathon.
Okay, good one. Pre-race breakfast.
Overnight oats.
Favourite distance.
Half marathon.
Okay. Next one's a bit controversial, and I think the answer changes when Chris is on it, depending on what we're discussing. But Adidas or Nike?
Adidas.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. There's not many of us. Favourite brand of running shorts?
New Balance.
Okay. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Summer training or winter training?
Summer.
Road or trail?
Road.
Your one song playlist. Remember, you got to listen for this up to 4 hours. So it better be good.
Oh, one song playlist. Can I choose a book?
Only if it's an audio book. Go on then.
Yeah. No. My one song would be probably, if it was one song over and over again, it would be the theme for the London Marathon. I can't remember the name of it, just because that really does. You can listen to that a lot.
And the final question is always the most important. Alan Smith or Ian Wright?
Ian Wright.
All the time, 100%. Toby, run the credits. Thank you, Eddie.
Oh, 2 words. Short and snappy. That's all I'm saying now.
That's 3 words.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah, true.
So he's putting in an extra word, so he can't even do it himself.
See?
And I'm not getting into the North London Derby today because you boys, I'm not talking to you after this finishes. I'm not talking to you till Monday, so leave me alone.
Well, the way things are going, I won't be talking to him after Monday either. But
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
hang on. Sorry, just to John Burchett Sharp. Thanks for the super chat. Thank you very much. Sorry,
cheers, John. Thank you very much. Now, did we see the story down at Bristol this week about the guy who ran the one half marathon, but he was only entered for the 10K. He went the wrong way.
Yeah, I saw that. And I tell you, my brother-in-law, we did an event in Hertfordshire. It was around the Lee Valley. Al, just a heads up, and he got lost, and he was doing the 5K, 10K, and he ended up running about 25K. He didn't win it.
I got a great story here from Oxford. So we've got a great one from Kalila McKelkel. I hope I've pronounced the name right. I'll read it out. It's quite long, but it's a good tale. In 2019, I ran the Rock and Roll Madrid half marathon. I'm a slow runner, and their cut-off time was about 10 minutes less than it would take me. Plus, I'd been injured and hadn't run for a few weeks. Within 5K, the sweeper bus was chasing me, and it finally caught me around 10K. I declined to be swept, so they said I could run at my own risk, which was fine. There was a small group of us at this point. I was leading and ran up an overpass, then realised I should have gone under. I tried to climb over and climb down, but it was a bit high. so another runner caught me. I was following green and yellow lines on the road. Then they split and I followed the green. Well, you know what's coming. That was the marathon line. I didn't realise for quite a while I'd run over a few. Almost got run over a few times. So me and a Spanish lady stuck together. I don't speak Spanish. She didn't speak English. She got fed up and started walking. So I ended up walking with her. As we approached 13 miles, we were in central Madrid, not the park we should have been finishing in. And that's when I realised I'd followed the wrong line. A policeman shouted at me for not knowing Madrid better, and the metro was closed with no open roads. So I had to get Google Maps on my phone to find the park. I found it, had to ask to be followed through a gate to get to the finish line, but I was the wrong side of it. So I collected my medal and goodie bag and then ran across the finishing line to turn around and finish officially. I needed to, as I wanted a R&R medal for racing in 2 countries in the same year. My half marathon was over 15 miles and it took me an extra hour to complete. What a great tale.
That's a great story, isn't it? That is a great. And did you say that was the rock and roll one?
Yeah, rock and roll half marathon in Madrid.
Yeah, because they just cancelled next year in Liverpool, didn't they? So, but yeah, I mean, that's a story, isn't it, in itself? Blimey.
That is.
What would you feel like if you'd done that? I mean, I don't know what I would do. I suppose you just get on with it, didn't you?
It's just a race that never ends, isn't it? You just have to be philosophical about it all, really, and just put it down as a bit of an adventure. At least you saw a bit of Madrid. Yeah,
that's true. And you know what? Hey, and again, we are getting so good on this show, so good on this show. How that nicely goes into our next question from David about overseas marathons. Now, I would just say before, and if you missed the podcast from the other week, Bill has emailed me details of the half marathon in Vegas, but he's just waiting confirmation of the suite in Caesar's Palace. We've gone for Caesar's Palace, but we're just waiting for confirmation. So if anybody else wants to sign up for the Las Vegas half marathon, the rock and roll thingy, we're doing it, but we don't know the exact dates because Bill's just sorting out the suite in Caesar's Palace. But we're booked on.
40 runs does the hangover.
Yeah, that's basically we're going. So good. Oh, and David, thanks for the super chat. Appreciate it. But okay, let's get into David's questions. So overseas marathons, great way to finish. So would Madrid marathon? Anyone fancy that? Let us know in the comments, people. Your overseas marathons. But what about you, boys? Madrid for a marathon?
I don't know, a bit out on it. I'm down to do Frankfurt. I've still got a place in Frankfurt for next year.
Well, Berlin's going on this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, Berlin this weekend. Berlin. Everyone loves because everybody smashes the times there because it's as flat as a pancake. Ed, you were down for Berlin, weren't you?
Yeah, I've deferred till next year because I've got the London place. So London this year, Berlin next year because they're still a week apart next year, aren't they? So.
Yeah. So I've got Frankfurt's. That'll be touch wood if everything's still, if we continue in our recovery, then that'll be my autumn marathon for next year. I think. Have you done Frankfurt, Al?
Yeah, I've done Frankfurt and Berlin, and Frankfurt is a bit weird because you finish inside, but it is a real.
You finish inside like there.
It's like running into the Royal Albert Hall to finish a marathon, but that's a bit weird. And if you're doing Berlin, don't stop at the Brandenburg Gate. That is not the end of the marathon. You've still got 0.2 to go. I know we had some controversy the other week with Brighton. Don't stop at the gate. But yeah, I've got a couple already booked in for 2022. I've got Amsterdam and Copenhagen. So,
oh wow!
Well, Amsterdam is 3 weeks after London, isn't it? I found out one of my runners
my injury, but I've got them booked in for next year. But on top of that, somewhere hot, I think.
What about further afield? What about LA? LA's got a good marathon apparently.
Well, there's one down in Southern California.
The
name is
Ray.
Where's Ray?
It's the Big Sur Marathon. It's normally in April, so I think I'm going to be too late for 22, but maybe 23. You run down Ocean Drive and you see all the waves crashing off the Pacific. So I fancy that.
What about you, Toad? What about you, Toad?
Good question. I don't know. I'm liking the sound of these American ones.
It looks like he's going to fall asleep, boys.
Yeah, I'm amazed.
Are you in a carb coma? Have you had too many carbs today with that fat pizza you had?
No, it's only medium actually. I didn't
Don't tell lies. All right, I tell you what. Let us know in the comment. Do we think Tobe's telling the truth? Was it a medium pizza or not? I guarantee it wasn't. There's no way you went medium. Not.
That's a big old box.
Yeah, no, there's no way you went medium. Not for someone who has an extra large flip belt. There's no way you went medium on that pizza.
Jealous of my small flip belt, aren't you?
So Toe's like an American. Ed, what was your Ed's one? I can't remember what you said, Ed.
Comrades. So it's called Comrades, but it's ultra, isn't it, in South Africa?
Oh, that'd be quite nice. South Africa overseas.
Yeah, they do it uphill. They have an uphill year and then a downhill year, don't they? And they say you've not truly done Comrades until you've done the up and the down. So you have to do it 2 years in a row.
What about that? I'll tell you what would be a good marathon, but I don't even know if it exists. Al, here you go. Hold tight, Al. This is the next race we could do. But if you start it in Turkey, can't you go from like Middle East to Europe or something like that? We could go across continents if we did a marathon then.
Yeah, we'd go to Syria. That'd be a good crack, wouldn't
it? Run around Afghanistan.
You wouldn't stop running though, would you?
That's true.
I wouldn't mind doing that midnight one as well in Norway. I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah, that looks
right
good.
At the top of Norway.
Yeah.
You start at midnight, but it's daylight because of the time of year and where you are in the world.
I reckon some weird stuff goes on. I reckon some weird stuff goes on, boys. When it's meant to be dark and it's light, I reckon weird stuff happens. Let me know in the comments, have you ever been anywhere and weird stuff has happened? It's not running related. It doesn't have to be running related. But has anything weird happened? Al, I've got a question. I've got a question for you, Al. When you ran inside at Frankfurt and you finished inside, did you have to turn off your hearing aids?
Yeah, you get a lot of electrostatic feedback, so you have to be careful.
All the flashing strobe lighting,
it is a hazard.
Gave me a bit of a turn.
Oh dear. Right, I tell you what, I'm not being funny, but boys, it's over an hour today, this show, and we've done no emails, right? We haven't talked about any of the questions really that we've had from all these lovely people that have come in. Most of that's my fault because I went on a rant and rave at the start, as usual. So I apologise for that, Eddie, for coming on and not being able to speak to Ed much about stuff. But yeah, more importantly, everybody Toe is going that you went large, and I want people. I'm going there. He's coming round my house tomorrow because we're doing part run. We're getting a limo service. Hashtag Sabrina Taxis. I want that box come round my house. I want to see evidence that was medium. There's no way that's medium and you get into a large flip belt. Not on your life.
It's 100% medium.
Hang on. Chris Ford, can we please get a shout out to the GNR FORDY support crew, my girls? Taylor, Miley, I pronounced that wrong, and Brianne, they stood at Hayworth with signs and 40 power up for our children, Geordie Lee. So, yeah, massive love, and I apologise for not pronouncing your names right. I am a complete idiot.
There. It was absolutely brilliant. They had their own signs out. And
amazing. Thank you very much.
Hello. It was absolutely fantastic. It was great. So this weekend, Al, you're doing a bit of pacing at Hackney?
Yeah, 2:25 at Hackney Half, and I've been practicing all week by sticking a broom up my backside so that I get to feel what it's like.
I was just thinking whether that bloke who does karaoke all the way round, whether he'd do about 2:25. He could sing Sweet Caroline in your ear for 2.5 hours.
No, I might do that. I might come and just do it.
Yeah, I am actually looking forward to it. There'll be a few other Fordies pacing, and yeah, it's gonna be a good laugh. I hope.
Yeah, so make sure if you're doing the Hackney Half this week, make sure you say hello to our 2:25. There's loads of stuff going on. We've already said that people are in Berlin this week. There's a big race in Manchester, Northampton half marathon. Big shout out to the Fordies in Northampton. I'm sure a load of them are going to be turning that pink on Sunday. So best of luck with that. Hackney, of course, and there's one in Windsor too. And everything's really cranking up now. Plenty of people have said that they're doing their local 10Ks and stuff like that. So we wish you all the best with that. Thanks for coming along, Ed. Hope the training goes well, and we'll see you before. But I'm sure on behalf of the whole group, we wish you all the best for London. If you beat your wife or not, though, you got to think about it, mate. Is it going to be worth it? You going to let her win?
That was a yes. That was a yes. I'm thinking about not letting her win. That was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think you could get a bit competitive with that one. It's lovely to have you along, mate. Thanks ever so much.
Cheers, mate.
Hey, can you remember the email address?
The email address is.
I'm testing you. Come on.
No, I can't.
No, I can't. So put it up. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Long Run Show.
Longrun show.
Gmail.com. Yeah.
So send your emails in, and we might answer them.
Yeah.
I might actually get around to checking them, but we will. I promise we will. Even if we have to do a bonus episode, right? Just emails.
Yeah, we
We
might
will
do an
do it.
email special.
Yeah, we might do a long run show email special because you guys are so incredible sending them in. It's just my fault. Well, it's not my fault. Other things have happened this week that are out of my control. And I hope once I'm back to fully operational, then I'll get onto it. But longrunshow@gmail.com. We want everything running related. Some of it not so much run related. And please send in pictures for Alan of vegan food that he is actually allowed to eat. Like croissants wouldn't necessarily be on that list. So just send those in and we can send them, forward them on to Al. I've got his email address so I can spam him of vegan products he is actually allowed to eat, you know, that wouldn't necessarily aren't like croissants. And that's it from me.
Yeah. So next week we're back. God knows what we're going to talk about. There's some plot around the middle of London or something the week on Sunday. So maybe we might touch upon that, but there'll be other stuff, I'm sure. So you can download us on all the particularly on Apple, because we like to get up them charts. We like to know, particularly if you're in Bratislava. Smash your downloads, or in Oslo, downtown Oslo, we'd like to get up from third in that. But I mean, seriously though, fifth most downloaded running podcast in the UK. You think about some of them big ones that got loads of budget, and here we are
advertising.
joshing about on a Friday night.
Yeah,
so,
it's amazing.
Yeah, download us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all the usual sort of places, or join us here on YouTube and Facebook at 7:00 next week. Wish you all the best of luck with all your running this week. Any questions, anything, just bang us a note on Facebook and send us an email to the address that I've already forgotten, longruntower@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week. You run them titles, crack up.